the chiropractor again. Got myself adjusted, ready to go. It's Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. It's Peach's Pit Party right here on K-Bear 101. I have been having way too much fun with the Sora 2 AI video creator app thing. I don't know how I got in. Like, the only way to access it is if you have an invite code. And I tried multiple previous invite codes, and then I re-downloaded the app. Well, previously, none of those codes worked. It said, this code is no longer valid, try again later, something along the lines of that. Well, I did try again later. I tried again earlier today because Josh from Class 97 and I were talking about the app as a whole, and I decided to re-download it. Somehow I got in, and so now I have my own little account. I gave Viktor the invite code, so he's joining in on the fun soon enough. I've been making these dumb AI-generated videos of myself, one of which I wish I could post, but there's a lot of explicit words that I can't say on the air, nor can I have AI Peaches say on the air or on our socials at KBear 101 FM. Oh, it's a funny video. I think it's quite great. I've been having too much fun trying to come up with ideas. I hate how most of these you can't really do. Like, you try to tell it to do something, it takes forever to generate it, and then goes, oh, this violates our content policy, blah, 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 and doesn't generate it, so you wasted like 10 minutes just waiting for it to generate just to give you that. Quite annoying. First world problem, I know. If you want to get a hold of me, you can over at 208-535-1015. During the afternoon show, I might get distracted and start messing with that app again. See what else I can generate with it. So I'm a little confused when it comes to this whole story here. I was looking at this particular thing about how there's this College Station woman. Her mugshot was used in a viral fake story. I didn't even hear about this story. She was arrested. So the real story for this girl, her name's Megan Davis. She was arrested for public intoxication in August, just weeks after her mother passed away. So there's that line. Her mugshot was posted on a local page that shares arrest photos, but months later, that same photo resurfaced with a completely false story, claiming she was a St. Louis waitress who threw breadsticks at Olive Garden customers over a tip dispute. Did that pop up in the radio prep? Were there radio stations out there that actually took that story seriously? I mean, here's the thing. She's a little upset that her mugshot was used, but at the same time, like, you're the one who got in trouble for public intoxication, you know? That type of thing. She told the news source she took full responsibility for the intoxication arrest and was in the process of getting the misdemeanor expunged. But, yeah, that story got shared to tons and tons of people. I'm hoping I didn't talk about something like that. I talk about so much, I forget exactly what I do talk about on the air. But I think I would have remembered that story. A waitress throwing breadsticks? Really? Just because of a tip dispute? Usually the breadsticks are gone by the time the bill comes to the table, right? At least that's what happens with me. Let's continue here with our K-Bear Rockin' Halloween, haunted by Juicity Vapor, Stain the Canvas, Get Scared, It's Puppet on K-Bear 101. All right, let's talk about today's To Peach Their Own question. I already decided what I'm going to ask at the top of the 4 p.m. hour. What's a weird rule you had to follow growing up? I'm trying to think of what my answer would be. And I think it would have been just, hey, I can't play video games during the week because I get too distracted by them. So I had to wait till the weekends to then get all my gaming in. So when the weekend came around, Saturday morning, I would wake up extra early just to get a head start on doing so. Just something that I really, really loved to do back then. Now that I've gotten older, gaming's not necessarily all that important to me. I feel like it's unnecessary energy going towards something that's not really going to matter, really. As sad as that sounds, I just feel like that's part of growing up is like, okay, I'd rather put the energy into, I don't know, maybe my relationship or doing something fun, a productive hobby, something along the lines of that. But I came across this list from BuzzFeed. Weird rules that people grew up with, and they didn't realize it was weird till they started talking to other people about it. This one person said, don't feed friends. If friends came over after school, we weren't allowed to offer them snacks or drinks. My parents didn't want them to eat all our food. As an adult, I feed everyone, offer food to my kids' friends. I find it so weird that my parents were so stingy. We weren't broke growing up. We were well off. I never minded feeding the kids who came over. My parents were also kind of weird, too, when it came to hanging out with friends. I've talked about this a couple of times on the air, that I would try to have a friend over. Like, I could easily just walk over to my friend's house growing up and open the door, knock, maybe knock first, and they would allow me in. I would go hang out. And that was the thing. Tried doing it at my parents' place. My mom would run up the stairs, go hide in the room, lock the door, take the dog with her. My dad would be like, wow, this place really isn't clean. And he would do like this weird, like, look how dusty this is. We need to clean this up. How dare you bring somebody into this pigsty? Let's see, another rule here. Everyone took an afternoon siesta. Turned out my grandma was narcoleptic, and her kids got used to napping with her. Narcoleptic. Am I too stupid to understand what that means? Let's see here. Oh, affected by or relating to an extreme tendency to fall asleep. Okay, yeah. I just, for some reason, had a brain fart there and was like, what does that mean again? We were only allowed ginger ale if we were sick or on an airplane. It wasn't common, but we would occasionally get a soda. Ginger ale was special. I mean, I get myself a nice ginger ale on a plane. It does help when you're sick. I only drink, do they still make 7-Up, or did that turn into Starry? Which one? No, it was Sierra Mist that turned into Starry. Too much change. But yeah, I only drink 7-Up, Sierra Mist, one of those drinks whenever I'm sick. But yeah, if you want to answer today's To Peach Their Own question, you can online on our Facebook group, K-Bear 101 Idaho Rock and Metal. And then on the air during the 4 p.m. hour, we'll get your answers live at 208-535-1015 for what's a weird rule you had to follow growing up. As part of our K-Bear Rockin' Halloween, haunted by Juice City Vapor, typo negative, creepy green light. Every time I see that song title, I just think of the Great Gatsby. Even though it wasn't creepy in that book, it was just that signature green light. It's the only book I really ever paid attention to. Well, that and The Outsiders growing up. You know those books you're forced to read? In middle school, high school. There was Hatchet in like 6th grade that I was forced to read that one. My least favorite book that we had to read was The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, one of the worst books out there. I think it was because of the accent being used. I think, did I ever read Tom Sawyer? Maybe like a page or two. I think I read it as a kid as part of one of those library reading programs. Like if you read a certain amount of books during the summertime, you get free pizza from Pizza Hut, one of those things. And I tried reading some of Tom Sawyer. I just couldn't understand it at the time. And I think back in the day, when you said you wanted to fight somebody or you were threatening to beat somebody up, you would say, I'll lick ya, right? And so I read that and thought he literally meant, hey, he's going to lick that guy. What? I'm like, what's wrong with this book? I don't get why is he saying that? And yeah, maybe I should now read Tom Sawyer, and I probably still would have a tough time reading it, to be quite honest with you. Haven't really read a book in forever. Me and my girlfriend were just watching 2017's It with Bill Skarsgård, and we were discussing the actual book. You know, Viktor's a Stephen King book collector. And I don't know if I have the patience to sit down and read over 1,000 pages of a depressing story. Like It, for example. Like, you got a clown in there. You got Pennywise, destroying people's mental health or terrorizing kids. And I know there's a few things in the book that are just outright outrageous. And then it makes you wonder what goes through Stephen King's mind to come up with this type of stuff. Let's move on to some Atreyu. It's dead on Peach's Pit Party. I don't know why I always have a tough time saying this word. Indianapolis Colts. Their quarterback, Anthony Richardson, isn't having the greatest season as he lost his starting job to Daniel Jones, and he wasn't even the backup this past weekend against the Arizona Cardinals, but that wasn't a coach's decision. It's because Richardson hit himself in the face with a resistance band during pregame warmups. The hit was close enough to his eye that the training staff just ruled him out for the game. How embarrassing that must be. It's luckily unintentional. It's really funny when an NBA player, any professional athlete, gets so frustrated, they punch the bench and they break their hand. They do something dumb like that. They punch a wall. break a knuckle or two. The NFL has its first coach firing of the year. The Tennessee Titans, they're off to a 1-5 start. They have sacked Brian Callahan just 6 games into his second season as head coach. The Titans have won just 4 games with Callahan at the helm. Decided now it's a good time to make a change. Chad Brinker, the president of football operations, said in a statement, "We have not demonstrated sufficient growth. Our players, fans, and community deserve a football team that achieves a standard we are not currently meeting, and we are committed to making the hard decisions necessary to reach and maintain that standard." The San Jose Sharks haven't made the NHL playoffs for 6 seasons, so they need to come up with some off-ice gimmicks to get people into the seats at the SAP, the SAP Center. Maybe change the name of the arena. Nothing like the SAP Center. This season, it's a food that draws its inspiration from what fishermen use to attract sharks, the chum bucket, which I think we talked about this yesterday on the Noon Hour of Madness and Mayhem. It was from that community r/stupid food. The chum bucket features buttered popcorn mixed with strawberry Pop-Tarts, chocolates covered in teal, covered in teal and red coating, and freeze-dried strawberries. Thankfully, there's no fish guts in there. That does it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. I'm glad this popped up. Over the past couple of days, I've been getting these silenced unknown calls. Luckily, my phone just immediately silences them because they're spam calls. These spammers are they spammers or scammers? These scammers try using the same area code as you to have you pick up the phone, and then you hear that blip when you say hello, when you answer, and then it goes to somebody asking for someone. For me, it's always, is there a Janet Martinez nearby? Are you Mr. Martinez? And I go, no, you've been calling me for the past, I don't know how many days. And the worst is when somebody calls you and then they just leave you like a 3-second voicemail of them saying nothing. Like, do they just sit there and hear the beep and then hang up? Like, I don't understand that. Usually an answering machine, right as you hear the answering machine, you just hang up and you get no voicemail. You don't leave a voicemail for them. You don't sit there all the way through the answering machine and then hear the beep, wait 3 seconds, and then just hang up the phone. You don't do something like that, right? So I found this thread, this question on Reddit. What's a small inconvenience that makes your blood boil instantly? Let's go through this together, huh? People who walk through a door and then just stop. The worst right now is when I go to Walmart and people walk in through the exit door or they walk out through the entrance door, and then they look at you as if you're the one, if you're the problem, that you're the problem, you know? The Walmart parking lot also, that makes my blood boil anytime. When you go to click something and you get a pop-up, you accidentally click the pop-up instead. Also another terrible, stupid thing. Pop-up ads are dumb. When you drop something, bend down to pick it up, and then drop something else, like the universe just queued up a sequel called Your Patience 2, The Shattering. When I go to ask a question, the person I'm asking immediately assuming I'm asking something else and replies to that question and not the actual one I had. That was not too bad. This one does suck. When you try to throw away a piece of tape, sticks to your fingers. There's also like the people that just habitually show up late, or like we say, or I'll say, hey, be ready by this time, and they're still somewhat getting ready at that time that we're supposed to be leaving out the door. And then I become the bad person by saying, all right, once it reaches this time, ready or not, I'm leaving with or without you. Like, oh, don't be that way. Don't do that. Why would you say something like that? I'm just getting ready. I'll be another minute or so. Got to be on time. Got to be on time. Like I mentioned at the beginning part of the show, I've been messing with this Sora 2 app, the one that's been responsible for all of these AI-generated videos making the rounds on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And I finally got access to be able to use the app. I mean, you would download the app. It's only available on iPhone. Downloaded the app. Then it said you need an invite code. So I was going through all these threads trying to find an invite code that works. None of them did at the time. And then Josh from Classy 97 and I were just talking about the app earlier today. So I decided to re-download it. He was mentioning to me the mega threads online. I'm like, sure, let me see if I can try again to find some sort of invite code to be able to access it. Sure enough, right as I downloaded the app, it works just fine. I don't know if it's because the previous invite codes work or what, but they did. And so I started messing with the whole thing. I would upload these videos to like the K-Bear group or something like that, but I also don't want to add on to the AI pileup. I mean, I enjoy messing with silly stuff like this, but there also is a sensitive audience for it on social media. Like if you upload anything close, anything remotely even close to being AI generated, people are just going to immediately put in the comment section, AI slop. Or they're like, I'm disappointed you're using AI, unfollow, that type of thing, you know? So I'll just mess with it on there. No big deal. I'm not going to start putting out AI generated videos on our Instagram. I know I gave Viktor on the app, there's 6 invites that you can send out to people, and I gave Viktor one of those invites, and he's already made an account, so maybe he'll post something AI related on our Instagram. Who knows? It's crazy how far AI has come, really. It's quite bizarre to see an AI generated version of myself. It is making me normal height, though, and it makes me skinny in some videos, fat in others. I don't think it even knows what I am. It's just like, wow, look at this dude's bald head, blonde beard, and just he looks like he is a weird mixture of fat and skinny at the same time. That's what it is. I saw a little snippet that was uploaded to Facebook. I think it was the Consequence page where Dua Lipa was doing a performance in San Francisco, and she brought out Billie Joe Armstrong of Green Day. And I was thinking about it, like, what if I went to a Dua Lipa concert? What would that be like? Would I be like the only dude there? And I would be like, okay, yay, this is fun. I'm in the dancing mood, whatever. Would it be embarrassing to share with people, hey, I've seen Dua Lipa live? I mean, my first ever concert in middle school, back when I was, I don't know how old, 13, maybe? I was younger than that. How old are you in 6th grade? That's how old I was. Everybody who's the average age of a 6th grader, that's how old I was. And my parents were like, hey, we're taking your sister to go see Hannah Montana and the Jonas Brothers at the Staples Center. Would you want to go? And I'm like, sure, why not? Go see the Disney shows that I watched as a kid. that was technically my first concert. And then a little later that year, my dad and I went and saw AC/DC, and that's technically my first rock concert. But any single time somebody asks, hey, what was your first concert? I go, funny enough, Hannah Montana and the Jonas Brothers. Maybe next year. Wasn't there all this talk? I might have talked to Katie Lee from Z103 about this. I think next year, there's these rumors going around that next year, Miley Cyrus will bring back Hannah Montana to celebrate 20 years of the show, and I can't believe it's been that long. Jeez, I was 10 in 2006. Maddie from down the hall was just born. Crazy. As we talked about on the noon hour of Madness and Mayhem, the older you get, the faster time goes by, and it really does suck. I hate to be the person that says this, but petitions 98% of the time do not work. I don't see them ever working. Whenever I see something pop up, like on a place like change.org, you know, there's a petition to bring back the old water tower in Idaho Falls, and it has like, I don't know, 5,000 signatures. You're going to take that to City Hall and say, hey, I know you guys just took down the water tower. Bring it back. Do they plan on taking that down this weekend? Or what was the whole point of that party? I thought there was the Idaho Falls block party for the water tower, and then that next day it was going to be taken down. Something like that. I don't know. I just know everyone makes a big fuss about the water tower. Even if I feel like it's a trigger word. If you walk around downtown Idaho Falls and you go water tower, someone's bound to run up to you and start yelling about how the new one's ugly. Something along the lines of that. It's kind of like with Bad Bunny right now, who's set to be the halftime show performer. I saw all this crap about how Turning Point USA is doing like their own halftime show. Good for you, okay? I'm not going to get political on this show here ever. But if you want to watch something else, go for it. You have the right to do so. Everyone has the freedom to do something. But when you start like a stupid petition to have another artist replace Bad Bunny as the halftime show performer, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Just like how every year people beg and beg and beg for Metallica to be the halftime show. Isn't this Super Bowl taking place in San Francisco, where Metallica has their headquarters, and they still did not choose Metallica. They chose Bad Bunny, who's from Puerto Rico, I think. Fans have decided to start this online petition to get George Strait as the halftime show performer. I want to watch neither, all right? George Strait, the king of country. It says right here from TMZ, George Strait fans want king of country for Super Bowl LX, not Bad Bunny. Who would I rather watch with those two? I can't say. I feel like I'd rather watch Bad Bunny in that case. Even though I hate reggaeton, I hate what's reggae, hate all that stuff. I don't think I'd want to watch an old dude with an acoustic guitar, to be quite honest with you, perform the halftime show. I've never been into country at all. Never really cared for, I don't really know George Strait's catalog. I do appreciate Johnny Cash, do love Dolly Parton. I love those two. I'm trying to think who else do I like. I like some good old Conway Twitty. George Strait, not familiar with. I do know he's one of the greatest country artists of all time. But would I want to see him perform the Super Bowl halftime show? Not really. Do I want to watch Bad Bunny? Definitely not. I might. I don't want to be that person either that says, I'm skipping on the halftime show. I won't be watching. I'll change the channel. I'll show them. Millions of other people will be watching, but not me. I don't know. People are so mad about minute things, and I'm the one saying that. Like, I get irritated by stupid little things. I talked about it on the show yesterday. Was it on the noon hour of Madness and Mayhem? Where we tried, me and my girlfriend tried returning one of my poster frames to Walmart, and it was like 10:15 p.m. There was 6 Walmart associates behind the counter. The lights were off at the customer service section. And they're like, sorry, we don't take returns past 10 p.m. And it's like, but you're right there behind the computer. You could have easily just, turned it back on, taken care of my return, and it would have been done and over with. So instead, I was a petty jerk going through Walmart going, hey, can I buy this past 10 p.m.? Can I buy this past 10 p.m.? That's so stupid. I'll nominate myself as the D-bag of the day for that one. I think I've officially reached that age where I'm looking at my apartment and I think some parts of it are childish to the point where it's almost embarrassing. And I talk with my girlfriend about it and I go, hey, how can we spruce up a room like this? And I don't necessarily want to spend a whole bunch of money on decorations. I really don't. I feel like I'm far too gone with this crappy first apartment. I want to wait till I move into someplace else, then really go into, I don't know, matching everything together, making it. I hate the phrase bachelor pad, but it does look like one. I got those Funko Pops. I want to get rid of those things. I have my computer room has a whole bunch of band posters and flags in the background, like band flags, like Bad Omens, Ice Nine Kills, Star Set. Got those. I almost bought a Mudvayne flag at the Pocatello show, but $40, I was like, yeah, I need to drive to Twin Falls. And I had to drive to Twin Falls that weekend, and I'm like, $40 will sort of fill up my tank, most of my tank. Don't necessarily want to spend an extra $40 on a flag that's just going to sit there. The Mudvayne flag was cool. All their merch was awesome. I just wish merch wasn't all that expensive, but, that's the kind of economy we live in, I guess. I don't know. But I'm looking at different ways to spruce up the apartment. I contemplated adding a fake plant or a giant sort of plant in the corner of my dining room. I want to just go through bit by bit of my apartment, go through start with the living room, make my way around and end in the kitchen, and just get rid of all this crap. I'm in this pickle, though, where I have a whole bunch of clothes that are a size too small. They were fitting me in the beginning, but then as you gain weight sometimes, and then you can't fit into clothes, and then you have hope that one day you'll be that weight again, and you can wear those clothes again. Maybe that'll be my inspiration, that I don't need to spend money on more 3XLs. Instead, I can go back to 2XL. I'll lose the weight, gain access to 100% of my closet. I like the headline for this one. Blizzard of Justice. An armed standoff in Washington state finally came to an end, not by use of violence, but by the use of Dairy Queen. Police in Pullman, Washington were locked in a tense standoff with a man suspected of setting his own apartment on fire. This dude, Elijah Reagan, launched a mortar-style firework into his ceiling, sparking a blaze that damaged 8 apartments, forced dozens of residents to evacuate. After the fire, Reagan reportedly called his estranged wife and said, I bombed my apartment. He then led police on a high-speed chase while smoking meth, out of all things. His car was eventually stopped with a spike strip. Police surrounded the vehicle, but he refused to get out. Cops negotiated with him, and he ultimately agreed to surrender in exchange for a Dairy Queen Blizzard. Officers picked one up for him, along with a hamburger, even used a tactical robot to hand it to him. When he was done, he gave himself up. You can't be serious. He's now facing charges of arson and eluding police. It's kind of like a weird twist on that. What would you do for a Klondike bar? What would you do for a Dairy Queen Wizard? Dairy Queen Wizard, really? Dairy Queen Blizzard. That's their next marketing campaign. You gotta run along with the story, Dairy Queen. You gotta do something about this. Do the funniest thing possible. I don't own a dog, nor do I plan on getting one. My nose, my allergies will just, go off if I ever decide to have a dog again. But I would be the one in charge of it this time because now I'm living on my own. I had Rover, the best beagle on the planet growing up, and then we adopted Daphne, who was this poodle hybrid, poodle mutt dog, and she was sweet. Don't get me wrong. It was great to have a different experience with a dog, but she was such a handful that it sort of killed my want to ever have a dog again. I mean, she would tear up the carpet, all this stuff. She passed away unexpectedly. I mean, she was only 13. Rover passed away at 18, so I expected Daphne to live a little bit longer, but unfortunately she passed away, and my mom has been just devastated ever since. That's another thing, too, is that dogs don't live long enough. They really don't. It's such a short time. You have them as a puppy. You see them grow from a puppy into, their full grown-up self. And then you have to watch them just turn gray or white, and it sucks. It sucks watching animals and people get old. But the whole point of me talking about this is I was looking at this article here about, people who are dog owners. Dogs are most likely afraid of Halloween decorations. And I don't think my parents really did anything too crazy to where Daphne, the Vam Poodle, we called her because she would bite other dogs that would get close to her. She only loved her family, nobody else. It would be awful to take her to the dog park because other dogs would try to play with her. And she's a 10-pound dog, so she has this bite to her. But I can tell you, if she were to try to go after like a German Shepherd, maybe even like a Great Dane, and start doing that whole like bully business, those other dogs would have thrown her over the fence. And then my mom would be like, "Oh my gosh," and running out of the dog park to go get Daphne back. It would have been a whole situation. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I was just thinking of how terrible Daphne was as a whole, but I do miss her. You ever have a pet like that growing up? I can't be the only one. That Daphne was more so adopted for my mom. Back when we were looking to get a second dog, just because Rover, he was getting older, and we were like, okay, we know we're going to be devastated when he passes. Let's try to get him a friend or get another pet that should be fun. And I wanted this dog named Titus, who was just awesome, fun, playful, super happy. Wasn't barking. And I kept like chanting Titus, Titus in the animal shelter. And my parents just ignored me, and then they found that, 10-pound poodle, Daphne Doodle. They got her. She was all over the place. I think she was like 9 weeks when we got her. She was real young. I think she was 3 months. Yeah, she was 3 months. That's how old she was. I don't know where I got 9 weeks from, but yeah, she was 3 months when we got her. Oh boy, was that a mistake? In my opinion. My mom loved her. Me, well, not so much. Let's move on to some Halloweenish music. Thanks to Juice City Vapor, 2 Halloweenish tracks every hour for our K-Bear Rockin' Halloween. Alice Cooper, This House is Haunted. You know, you're in radio and then you get these dumb little things like a new survey found that most Americans don't wait until Halloween night to indulge in their candy stash. No kidding. You're telling me you're going to buy this giant bag of candy for like $30 and then have it sit on the counter till Halloween and then you finally break it open and give it out to people? No. You eat them. And it's always the fun size crap too. They're not fun. It's not fun at all to have 2 milk duds in a little container. Ooh. Those Hershey's Kisses, they're one of the worst. You want to know why? Because you have to unwrap every single one of them. You get a big bag of Hershey's Kisses. You got to put in the work to get to the chocolate. You can't just have a bag of unwrapped Hershey's Kisses. No siree. That's an annoying thing. Anytime you open up a box of candy, and then there's like that little tiny bag of candy on the inside. Like it's in a bag for some reason. You're like, just fill up the box. Put it in the cardboard box, open up the box, pour it out, eat the candy. Simple as that. I don't want to untie a Hershey's Kiss every single time I want a little piece of chocolate. Then you got to take the little panties off the Reese's peanut butter cup too. Super annoying. Fat boy problem. Now it is time for To Peach Their Own. I talked about this question during the 2 p.m. hour, I think. I don't know. I just know it was earlier on. What's a weird rule you had to follow growing up? Let's look at some of the answers so far in the K-Bear 101 Idaho Rock and Metal Facebook group. No swimming on Sundays from Amber. I remember being told that the devil was in the water on the Sabbath. That's why we couldn't swim. Can't swim on Sundays. Can't have most stores open here in the area also because of that. Can't have a store open on Sunday. That's a bad thing, right? I wasn't allowed to date till I was out of high school from Stewart. Interesting. I was allowed to date during high school, but nobody liked me. It wasn't until after high school that I finally, had my first ever relationship. There was that. If you don't know what it is, don't touch it from RJ, all right? Some other stuff in here, but I want to hear your answer live on the air at 208-535-1015. What's a weird rule you had to follow growing up? Let me know. Well, somebody was calling in, and then right as I was about to hit the button, they hung up. I wonder why. Were they just too ashamed to tell me their answer? I want to know now. Randy wrote for today's To Peach Their Own question, by the way. What's a weird rule you had to follow growing up? Randy said, my hair had to be short, then, of course, military service, so short again. I have wore it long now for over 20 years and will never, ever cut it again. I wish I had that problem. I wish I had that ability to do so. If I were to grow it out, I would look like Paul Heyman with that stupid horseshoe skullet type thing, My dad has the horseshoe. I'm not going to grow the horseshoe out. No, thank you. Some dudes can pull it off somehow, but as a 29-year-old dude, I don't necessarily want to have the horseshoe just yet. I want to just be completely shaved down on my head. And it is kind of annoying having to shave your head every couple of days. There are people who just laser off the rest of their hair. There are all those dudes out there that are just, they naturally have the horseshoe haircut and they just laser off the rest of it so they don't have to shave ever again. I mean, that's a genius thing to do if you want to commit to being, 100% bald. I mean, if you still have that, little thing of hope in your head to where you think you could grow it out again, or not grow it out again. You think you could go to like Turkey or stay here in America and get the hair transplant, and you want to have that head of hair again. Maybe you could just keep the horseshoe for now. What's a weird rule you had to follow growing up? Let me know your answer. 208-535-1015. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brendan Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.